Sa araw na ito ay nais ko po sa inyo i-share ang Learn the Essentials Standard Specifications for House Construction. Kung may nais po kayo palabas po sa tahanang ito, pwede po kayo mag-comment down below. At kung may nais naman po ng shoutout, ay pwede rin din po mag-comment down below. At i-shoutout po natin po sa mga susunod po mga palabas. So heto na, sisimulan na po natin mga Standard Specifications. So, hope you enjoy guys!
A few moments later.
Column size for one-story building. Minimum size of an RCC column should be 9 inches by 9 inches or 225 mm by 225 mm. Column size for two-story building. Specification is minimum size of an RCC column should be 9 inches by 12 inches or 225 mm by 300 mm. Bars in rectangular column. Specification is minimum number of reinforcement bar is 4 numbers of 12 mm diameter in 9 inches by 9 inches size column. Bars in circular column. Specification is minimum number of reinforcement bar is 6 numbers of 12 mm diameter for circular column. Diameter of bar of column. Specification is minimum diameter of reinforcement bar or longitudinal bar in circular, rectangular, or square column is 12 mm. Lateral ties in column. Specification is minimum diameter of bars of lateral ties in column is 10 mm. Lateral ties in column. Specification is maximum spacing of lateral tie in a column is 100 mm. Pitch in spiral column. Specification is maximum spacing between turns of spiral or pitch is 80 mm. Distance between two columns. Specification is for ordinary structures, a distance of 5 meter is appropriate. Maximum span of two columns is 7.5 meter. Concrete cover of column. Specification is minimum concrete cover per column is 25 mm.
A few moments later.
Beam. Beam size for one-story building. Specification is minimum size of an RCC beam should be 9 inches by 9 inches or 225 mm by 225 mm. Beam size for two-story building. Specification is minimum size of an RCC beam should be 9 inches by 12 inches or 225 mm by 300 mm. Beam size for 16-foot span. Beam size 12 inches by 16 inches or 300 mm by 400 mm is used for 16-foot long span in the residential building. Beam size for 20-foot span. Beam size for 12 inches by 20 inches or 300 mm by 500 mm is used for 20-foot long span in the residential building. Diameter of bar of beam. Specification is minimum diameter of reinforcement bar or transverse bar in RCC beam is 12 mm. Number of bars in beam. Specification is minimum number of reinforcement bar in beam is 4 numbers of 12 mm diameter. Diameter of stirrups of beam. Specification is minimum size of stirrups for beam should be 8 mm. Spacing for stirrups of beam. Specification is maximum distance between stirrups of beam is 300 mm. Concrete cover of beam. Specification is minimum concrete cover of beam is 25 mm.
A few moments later.
Slab. Thickness of slab. Specification is minimum thickness of concrete slab for 1, 2, and 3-story building is 5 inches or 125 mm. Diameter of bar in slab. If thickness of slab is 5 inch, the maximum diameter of bar used is 16 mm. Diameter of bar in slab. Specification is minimum diameter of main bar in slab is 10 mm. Diameter of bar in slab. Specification is minimum diameter of distribution bar in slab is 8 mm. Spacing of bars in slab. Specification is maximum distance between main bars in slab is 300 mm. Spacing of bars in slab. Specification is maximum distance between distribution bars in slab is 450 mm.
A few moments later.
Footing. Footing depth. Specification is minimum depth of footing for one-story building is 3.5 feet or 1 meter. Footing depth. Specification is minimum depth of footing for two-story building is 4 feet or 1.2 meter. Column footing size. Specification is minimum column footing size for one-story building is 3.5 feet by 3.5 feet or 1 meter by 1 meter. Column footing size. Specification is minimum column footing size for two-story house is 4 feet by 4 feet or 1.2 meter by 1.2 meter. Rebar for column footing. Specification is minimum diameter of rebar in column footing for one-story house is 10 mm. Rebar for column footing. Specification is minimum diameter of rebar in column footing for two-story house is 12 mm. Clear cover for column footing. Specification is minimum clear cover for column footing is 40 mm.
A few moments later.
Stair. Width of stair. Specification is minimum width of stair is 36 inches or 91 cm. Riser of stair. Specification is maximum rise of stair is 18 cm or 7 inches. Minimum rise of stair is 16 cm or 6 inches. Tread of stair. Specification is minimum tread width of stair is 11 inch or 28 cm. Total rise of stair. Specification is maximum total rise of stair is 3.84 meter. Head clearance of stair. Specification is minimum head clearance of stair is 80 inches or 2.03 meter.
A few moments later.
Salamat po ng napakarami po sa inyo pong panonood. Kung inyo po ito pong nagustuhan, ay maaari po natin po itong share sa ating mga friends. Hanggang sa muli po, goodbye po!
You